There's a difference between remakes and remasters. Let's talk about that. Hi, what's going on, guys? It's Maximus24, and it's Tuesday, and it's time for another Tuesday Talks. Before we get into that, please, as always, do remember to drop a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that jazz, all that fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, almost on Twitter, sometimes on Facebook, barely ever on Instagram. Follow me on those places, subscribe to me here. And with that, let's talk about this week's topic. So I'm seeing a lot of people on the internet. I mean, a lot of people, and not just the gamers, but also the critics, the reviewers, the journalists, are confusing remakes and remasters. They are very different concepts. We are seeing more and more remakes and remasters as this generation goes on, and as we enter the next generation. A lot more games are being remastered and remade, just like, because why have an original idea instead bring in the nostalgia? But people are confusing the two, and they're very different, alright? On the Saints Row the Third Remastered review, IGN was upset because the mechanics, were the same as before. The gameplay didn't change much. Nothing really changed much. You just got a graphical overhaul, and they were upset about that. And people in the comments were like, yeah, they just got a graphics update. People with the Mafia 2 and 3 Definitive Editions were like, there's just a slight little upgrade. Nothing much happened. But that is because they were remasters. Okay? A remaster of a game is a simple HD texture being added onto it. Maybe some bugs are fixed, but overall it's just a simple HD version of the game. A simple tweaking of the graphics to make it look better. It's always been that way. From the time of remasters, nothing has changed, alright? Saints Row the Third Remastered, it's the same exact game as the original Saints Row the Third, but it looks prettier, and some bugs were fixed. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, which came out a couple of years ago, it's the same exact game, just looks a little bit prettier, with some bugs fixed. Mafia 2 and 3 Definitive Editions, they were weak remasters, but they were still remasters. A simple HD fix to make it look a little bit better, make it run on our consoles, a little bit of bug fixes, and there you go. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which is coming out soon. It's a simple remaster. It looks much better than the Mafia 2 and 3 remasters, but all it is a simple remaster. It's going to be the same exact game with a little bit added to it, with a little prettier, some bugs fixed and stuff. Maybe a little bit more content, but not very much. The Halo 1 and 2 Anniversary Editions, simple remasters. It's the same exact game with an HD look on it, new graphics. That's all a remaster is. A simple HD texture, a simple graphics update, and some bug fixes. A remake, we have been spoiled by remakes, because there have been a lot of remakes. A remake is completely different. A remake is taking that game, the old classic game that you love, and completely rebuilding it from the ground up. Completely. Starting from scratch, new graphics, new engine, new mechanics, sometimes new story, new content, new gameplay. It's just everything is rebuilt from the ground up. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, completely different from the OG Final Fantasy VII. Completely different. It's got the same story beats, but the mechanics, the gameplay, the graphics, everything, it's completely different. All the Resident Evil remakes, they are completely different from the classic Resident Evil. Yeah, they, again, share the same story beats, but the looks, the feel, the mechanics, everything is different. The Mafia 1 remake, which is coming, it's Mafia 1 completely rebuilt from the ground up. Remakes are a lot of extra work for the developer. It's very easy for a developer to slap on an HD texture and release a remaster. It's another thing to do a complete overhaul, a complete remake of their game. It takes a lot more resources, a lot more money, a lot more time. That's why you see the Mafia 2 and 3 Definitive Editions, which are the remasters, coming out way before Mafia 1's remake. Because it's a lot easier to slap on an HD texture and send it out there. A lot easier. A lot easier. Now, these games are not claiming to be one or the other. Final Fantasy VII has remake in its title. Alright? Saints Row the Third has remastered in its title. Alright? They are completely different concepts. A remake and a remaster are completely different, and people are not understanding that. Critics are not understanding that. Journalists are not understanding that. Some gamers are not understanding that. We should know this because it's been a thing forever. Okay? We're getting spoiled by the amount of remakes, so we're not used to remasters. There are so many remakes coming out, so many reimaginings of our favorite franchises that we're not used to just a simple HD texture pack, and that is all what a remaster is. When they announce a remaster, you should expect it's just going to be a simple HD texture pack. The same exact game you played, the same exact nostalgic game that you played, just it looks prettier. A remake, you can expect a completely different game, some same story beats, but a completely different game mechanically, look-wise, and just completely different. You can expect that. Now, with these two names comes other things. There's also the port and the reboot. All right, people are confused about the port, especially for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, a lot of people are accusing the Nintendo Switch of just being the port console, even though a lot of their games are sequels to games that were on the Wii U. But a lot of people are accusing them as just being simple ports. A port is completely different from a sequel of a game. A port is completely different from a remaster of a game. A port is completely different from a remake of a game. A port is simply taking that old nostalgic game, not changing it, just putting it on a new device. Just being like, here you go. There you go. Just re-releasing it on a new device. Making it able to run on that new device, but not changing anything. They sometimes charge cheaper. They sometimes charge the full amount. Depends on the company. But all it is taking that game and releasing it onto the new consoles. Take a look at, like, the Podracer game. The Star Wars Podracer game is being ported to Nintendo Switch. It's just an old game being plopped onto the Nintendo Switch. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right? You see a lot of indie games get ported to consoles, get releases on consoles. You see a lot of that. A port is all just taking an old game and just taking a game and putting it on a new device. That's all a port is, okay? They don't change the game. Sometimes they put the DLC with it, but they don't change the game at all, okay? They just make you able to run, okay? Just be able to run. And then a reboot is completely different from all those two. A reboot is taking your franchise and restarting it. Okay, you saw that with the Tomb Raider franchise, okay? The new Tomb Raiders are not connected to the old Tomb Raiders. They took Tomb Raider and restarted it, remade it a gritty reboot. The new God of War game is a reboot, alright? Yes, there's some connection to the old games, but the game is set up so that you can just jump on there. You don't have to start from number one, okay? It's its own number one, alright? It's a reboot. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare is rebooting the Modern Warfare trilogy, okay? A reboot is just restarting the story, restarting from square one. That's all a reboot is, alright? It's different from a port, it's different from a remaster, it's different from a remake. A reboot is usually a brand new game, just restarting the story, just restarting from square one, so you can start at that one. Okay, you see reboots in film and video games a lot, alright? It happens a lot. A lot. I really hope that people just stop confusing them, because a remake, the game's completely built from the ground up, completely new mechanic, completely new everything, okay? Same story beats, but everything else is different. A remaster is a simple HD texture pack. A simple HD texture pack applied to the old game. Maybe some bug fixes here and there, maybe thrown in with all the DLC, but it's simply an HD texture pack. A port is taking that old game and just plopping it onto the new device. Just being like, boom, it's the same exact game that you played. Nothing's been changed. It's just the same exact game. Boom, there you go. And then a reboot is restarting the game from square one. And then some people will say, reimagining, where does that fit in? A reimagining goes with remake, okay? They sort of intertwine. They sort of are, you can switch them out, because a reimagining is reimagining the game. A remake is remaking the game, okay? They're one and the same. There's different levels of a remake and a remaster. Some developers will go the extra mile, like Saints Row the Third Remastered looks a lot better than Mafia 2 and 3 Definitive Edition. Final Fantasy VII Remake is going the extra mile for remakes, like, they'll go different extra miles, but it all depends on what the studio wants to do. And also the money. You see, a remaster is a lot cheaper to do. A port is even cheaper to do. A remake and a reboot take a lot more money, because they're practically both new games, okay? They take a lot more money. That's why you'll see a lot of remasters and ports more than you'll see remakes and reboots, because remakes and reboots, they're banking on the fact they're going to make a lot of money because it takes a lot of resources to build a completely new game from the ground up. A remaster, you just got to find the old code and just throw in an HD texture pack. A port, you just got to find the game and you just got to throw it onto a new device. A lot easier. But yeah, I hope this cleared that up for you. You know, if you have any questions, you know, if you're still confused, I don't know what to tell you, okay. They're different. They're completely different, okay. If the game's not marketing itself as a remake, it's not going to be a remake. If the game's not marketing itself a remaster, but it's not going to be a remaster, okay? And usually you can tell by the name. If there's the remastered in the title, it's probably a remaster. If there's a remake in the title, it's probably a remake. Or if it looks like a remake, if it looks like a completely new version of this game, it's probably a remake. If it just looks like the old game but with an HD texture pack, it's probably a remaster, okay? So please review them as such. Please. I'm just asking you that. Please do not look at a remaster and be like, why were there new no mechanics? Why is it the same game I played with, just prettier? Because that's exactly what a remaster is. Don't look at a remake and be like, what is this? Why is this nothing like the game before? What happened? Because that's what a remake's supposed to be. Okay? So please just review them as such. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that cleared it up for you guys. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, you know, all that fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I open most on Twitter, sometimes on Facebook, barely ever on Instagram. Follow me on all those places, subscribe to me here, and I will see you in the next video.